The Buccaneer project is funded by the European Regional Development Fund through the Ireland-Wales Cooperation Programme.
Hello and welcome to the Buccaneer Innovation video series. In this series of 4 short videos, we'll be looking at how you can first discover, define, develop and finally deliver ideas that will help your business to thrive. Looking at ideation, we'll go through a pragmatic process that will help you to create ideas, looking at what your customer wants, looking at what your business can really do, and then coming up with the way forward. Ideation is the process of creating ideas. In the first series, we looked at the process of entrepreneurial innovation, trying to discover whether or not you needed to innovate and where best to focus your efforts. In this series on ideation, we're going to first start looking at your customers. Do you know what your customers want? Do you know the kind of ideas that will help you to develop your business and give the customers what they are looking for? Ultimately, you want to run your business in a way that attracts customers. And the best way to do this is to come up with new products and enter new markets that your ideas can thrive in. This model of customer empathy asks you to consider who your customer is. What are they thinking and feeling? What really matters to them? What preoccupies them on a daily basis? And what their worries are? It is always easiest to do this if you can imagine a single individual, perhaps your dream customer. The daily experience of a young mother of 2 toddlers will be different to that of a middle-aged man living alone. Now think about the world around your customer. What is already going on around them? What do they see? Who do they spend time with? What is in their environment? What is the market already offering them? Next, we think about what your customer hears. The views and opinions of other people are important in influencing the decisions that they make about what they purchase, the services they use, and the ways in which they approach their problems. Lastly, we think about how the customer behaves. What tasks do they do on a daily basis? How do they approach these tasks? How do they behave towards others? You can then start to think about their needs. Once you really know the customer, you can consider their fears, their frustrations, or the obstacles that prevent them from achieving what they want to do. We call these the pains. And finally, the gains. What the customer wants, what they need, and the things they'd like to see fulfilled. This is where you can be more aspirational. Now you've thought about what your customer wants, what they need, and what they might aspire to, then you can start to focus on creating ideas that can solve some of their problems. In this 4-step model, we want to explain how to first create ideas. In fact, you need to have a large number of ideas to identify just one promising one. Therefore, we will build on a logic of convergent and divergent thinking, creating a large number of ideas and then organizing them into idea clusters. Second, the ideas will be prioritized based on 3 key evaluation criteria: desirability, feasibility, and viability. In the third phase, we show you how to apply the 6 thinking hats method. Building on that method, we will review the ideas from different points of view and lift them onto the next maturity level. Finally, an idea selection template will be introduced to help you identify the most promising idea for your business. In this first step, we want to create as many ideas as possible to address the innovation challenge. This is called divergent thinking. You want to develop as many ideas as you can in a free-flowing, spontaneous manner without limiting yourself. The following basic rules might help you to start brainstorming. Put your overriding challenge up on the wall to trigger more ideas. Use sticky notes to make your ideas tangible. Focus on quantity. Your aim at this stage is to generate as many ideas as you can with respect to your innovation challenge. Avoid criticism. There should be no judgment at this point, as this may hinder the free flow of ideas. Welcome unusual ideas. Think outside the box. Sometimes inspiration can come from embracing unusual perspectives. Try these ideas. How would Superman solve the problem? What would Elon Musk do? Combine and improve ideas to create new ones. Often creative ideas don't come out of the blue, but are a smart combination of existing ones. Do you remember when we set the innovation challenge? Your area of focus might have been about adapting one of your existing ideas. In fact, if you're having problems coming up with brand new ideas out of the blue, why don't we look at ways that you can modify or adapt your existing products or services? We use the acronym SCAMPER. SCAMPER stands for first substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, or reverse. Take 5 to 10 minutes now to come up with some new ideas. Pause the video, and when you come back, we'll be looking at how we can review those. Welcome back. If you've come up with some ideas by yourself, you may have realized that this works even better as a group. Later on, we're going to talk a bit more about brainstorming. But before we do, I'm going to introduce the concept of convergent thinking. Once you've thought about numerous options, the next step is to cluster or order those ideas in a meaningful way. The thought process we want to follow here is called convergent thinking. It's basically the cognitive opposite of the divergent thinking that you followed in the last step. First, focus on similarities and themes. Cluster those ideas together. This is where sticky notes are a very good idea. You can reorganize them, grouping similar ones together and formulating overarching topics. You can link them if there are dependencies. Keep in mind the scope that you have defined. Build on the opportunities and threats you've developed, but don't lose sight of your goal. Always come back to your innovation challenge. So now you've thought about as many ideas as you can, and you've clustered them. What's really important here is to remember you're not limiting yourself, but try to focus on the innovation challenge. Take another 5 minutes just to start clustering those sticky notes, looking for the linkages, coming up with your themes. So now you've got as many ideas as you can come up with. You've clustered them, and they're starting to make sense to you, and hopefully you can see how they apply to your customers. In this next step, it's important to get other people involved. If you've come up with a good set of ideas, imagine what a group of similarly focused people can do. If you're working on brainstorming with a group, you might want to use this flow to keep things moving. After you have selected your group, you need a location with plenty of space to work together. If this is outside your usual office spaces, like a meeting room or somewhere that sparks creativity, you should get good results. Next, you need to set the scene. Explain the timescale that you're working with and set clear objectives. Establish from the outset what you want to achieve. Perhaps, share the ideas you had around customer empathy. Throughout the brainstorming exercises, you need to keep the participants fresh. Don't forget regular breaks, moving around between working groups, plenty of refreshments, and perhaps thought-provoking videos or a visit from your customers. Make sure that you can encourage all participants. In the divergent stage, there are no bad ideas. Make sure you capture those ideas, ready for entering the convergent stage again later on. Thanks for watching part 1 of the Buccaneer Innovation video series on ideation. Come back again for part 2, where we'll be looking at how you can prioritize your ideas.